Hi, friends and fans of the fighting games community. I am your host, Zoreen, and you are listening to 1-2 Punch. You know the drill by now, hopefully. That fighting games show on the podcasts, on the videos, in your eyeballs, in your ears. Welcome back, everyone. New week, new episode. And can I just say, and it makes me super, super excited to say this and to be able to say this, but I'm so happy to say that this is our 10th ever episode of 1-2 Punch. That's right, 10 episodes of 1-2 Punch. It's like a first to 10. We reached our first to 10, everyone, of FGC goodness on the radio. Isn't that great? I'm really stoked about this. Thank you so much to everyone who's ever tuned in, everyone who watches and listens, everyone who's ever dropped a comment or left some feedback about the show. I am so happy that we reached this milestone, and I continue to work hard, and we'll continue to work hard over here, everyone, to continue to improve upon the show as much as we can, and hopefully keep delivering you some great FGC content. Because, the world needs more FGC content, in my opinion. But thank you so much, everyone. And very happy to say, yeah, we're hit episode 10 of 1-2 Punch. As usual, you can find us on Twitter if you want to give some feedback or share feedback and you haven't before. Just go to Twitter. You can just tweet with the hashtag 1-2 Punch. That's just the numbers 1 and 2 or 12. Punch, the word punch, no spaces, no caps needed, and we'll be checking those feeds as well. Alternatively, you can also tweet directly at me if you prefer. I know some of you folks in the past have done that, and I read your tweets. Thank you so much, everyone, for your feedback. Appreciate it. My Twitter handle is @Zorine. That's @ZORINE. And you can also find us Esports Network, the publication on YouTube, as well as Twitter. So on Twitter, we're @Esports Network, and on YouTube, where you can actually watch this podcast in video format and see me talking at the camera. If you did not know that, if you're a podcast listener, I'm there on YouTube as well. So we have 1-2 Punch on YouTube. That's youtube.com/esports network, and we are there as well. All the episodes are there, so if you feel like you've missed any, that's no problem. They're all there. All the VODs are there on YouTube for you to watch. So yeah, you can check us out. Alternatively, if you also like reading about esports news, you can check out our website. That's sportsgrid.com/esports network. So sportsgrid, one word, .com, like sports and a grid, like a grid, as in like gridiron, sportsgrid.com/esports network, one word. And we have like this hub there of like all these like esports related articles, especially if you are also a League of Legends or CSGO fan. We have some stuff there. We cover Overwatch League as well. So we have all matter of features and analysis and things, breaking things down. So check us out there if you can on Esports Network. So yes. That's that. On to the news that we're covering today. There is so much news happening, and I know I feel like I say that pretty often, maybe like every second episode, but that's only a good thing, right? Like that just means that the industry or fighting games as a whole keep on growing, and we keep on getting exciting new content. I know every time I see a new trailer or a new announcement, I get like really hype and excited. Just going off on a slight tangent, by the way, I actually went back and watched so I think we talked about this last week or the week before. I can't remember how long it's been now. Feels like it's been 2 weeks almost. But Nintendo revealed a new Smash game, of course. And, I watched the initial trailer, got really excited. Saw everyone get excited on Twitter, which was hilarious. But then I went back and I found out like all these, like some people have put together compilations of reactions to the initial reveal from Nintendo. And I gotta say, watching these reactions from everyone is hilarious. Like, so many people absolutely lose their minds. I had to turn the volume down because the screaming coming from my speakers sounded like, I was like, man, my neighbors are probably going to start complaining and knock on my door. So that's hilarious. Well done, Nintendo. Like, it was just so awesome to see, fans get so excited about an announcement. And I love the way Nintendo did it as well. They did the whole, like, as if they were wrapping up their conference and was like, oh, wait a minute. We've just got one more thing that we want want to show you. And then they show a trailer that's kind of like a throwback to the original Splatoon reveal that they did, and it was just hilarious. And you know what? Seeing all this excitement from fans made me want to get into Smash. Like, honestly, I historically, like, you know, people know me as more of a Tekken person. I even played Street Fighter more than I played Smash, but seeing all the excitement and like all the fans, like the community get all excited about this game made me want to get into the game as well. Like, I've only played Smash 4 a lot, I would say, compared to any of the other games. But hopefully, you know, we don't know anything about the game yet, but hopefully whenever Nintendo chooses to reveal, hopefully they reveal something at E3 about the game, whether it's a port or whether it's a brand new game. Hopefully that will be awesome. And speaking of that, hopefully we'll have a guest on next week to talk about that. So there, that's for the Smash peoples. In other news, so let's go over lots of news today. A new Broly trailer was released. Broly, of course, being the badass warrior Super Saiyan from Dragon Ball Z, also coming to Dragon Ball FighterZ. I just have to correct myself. I almost said Dragon Ball FighterZ Z. Anyway, it's very confusing when you have to do this. Go back and forth between the two, I mean. Also, new patch details on Dragon Ball FighterZ that will supposedly greatly improve matchmaking, so that should be interesting. A new trailer was released for the upcoming new Tekken 7 character, Noctis. We also have a release date confirmed as well. Bandai Namco had some Soul Calibur 6 drama go down lately. More on that in a minute. BlazBlue cross-tag battle will be getting an open beta in Japan. Daigo Umehara appearing on a NHK documentary coming up. And speaking of Daigo, we have the Kimonomichi 2 results in, of course, over the tournament that happened over the end of last week. So going to talk about that as well. Capcom announcing new broadcast partners for CPT, and E-League Tekken Team Takedown making its debut on TBS March 16th, excuse me, as well as upcoming tournaments that we have to look forward to. So quite a bit of news to look forward to today, and let's get right into it. So the first thing to talk about, Bandai Namco just released, and by just I mean yesterday, which was Tuesday, March 13th. If you are listening to this live, if you're listening to this in post, the trailer was released on Tuesday for the upcoming Dragon Ball FighterZ character, Broly. So if you only watch the Dragon Ball Z series, you will not have seen this character. That only just occurred to me, which is quite interesting. But basically, Broly was a character who was introduced in a bunch of Dragon Ball Z movies that were kind of, I guess they're kind of non-canonical. It's very hard to say when they make anime movies canon or not, canon being like relevant, like part of the true storyline. But I think Broly is, because he was in the manga, so I don't know. But so Broly is like this mystical warrior who's rumored to be like this powerful Saiyan who appears only once in 1,000 years, and he's like really, really strong. He's a Saiyan, and for whatever reason, he really hates Goku. Like, I remember I read the manga for the first Broly movie. I actually read the manga first, and then I watched the movie much, much, much later. I don't know why. I don't know how I got my hands on the manga anyway. And in the manga, it shows a panel where it's like a baby Goku crying next to a baby Broly. Like their baby incubators happened to be like right next to each other when they were born. And Broly was just like lying next to him and just like so annoyed or just irritated. And it's like, I think it insinuated that Goku was always destined to be Broly's like Achilles heel, I guess, or like his weakness, not weakness, but like the thing that would always set him off and trigger him and get to him. So that's a bit of history there for who Broly is as a character. And Bandai Namco released a new gameplay trailer for him, showcasing some of his moves. It's a pretty short trailer. We don't see a lot, to be honest. I think it's only quite a very brief glimpse, but it's better than nothing, right? And it does build up hype. His character model is definitely on the larger size of characters as well, which is true to the anime/movies. He's like huge even by Dragon Ball Z standards. Like, I know their characters tend to get like ridiculously huge sometimes, especially Trunks when he goes like that Super Saiyan 2 enhanced mode. I'm like really getting into Dragon Ball right now. I'm geeking out. But like his character model made Goku look pint-sized in Dragon Ball FighterZ and in the Dragon Ball Z movies. So that's nice to see that they kept that touch in there. Broly really is that fearsome, you know, huge warrior to really like feel like he's just so powerful in the manga and the movies, and I think they really kind of brought that along with his appearance in Dragon Ball FighterZ. You know, kept him true to the material, which I think is good. Now, we don't have a release date for either Broly or the other DLC character, who is Bardock. I spoke about him in a previous episode. He's Goku's father. And we don't know how much each character will cost yet. But people, the players for Dragon Ball FighterZ, if you've purchased a Dragon Ball FighterZ Fighter Pass, then you'll get them for free. Like, well, not for free, you purchase the pass, but you'll get access to them at no additional charge on release. So the Fighters Pass, if you haven't got it yet, it runs for $35, and it includes access to these two characters, Broly and Bardock, when they're released, as well as the 6 other DLC characters who are coming, who we don't know like anything about yet. We don't know, there's no like reveal or no information on them yet recently, but when they launch, you will get access to them as well. So you get $35 for like 8 extra characters. So I mean, it's up to you if you wanna, if you wanna purchase that, or if you see the value in that. So yes, that's Bandai Namco keeping busy. Just out of curiosity, which other Dragon Ball Z characters would you like to see added to the game? Personally, I think we've had enough of the variations of the Saiyans, and I'd like to see other more unique characters get added in. I know it might be kind of hard because, I mean, I guess at the same time, well, I was going to say it's hard because you want to keep the, I guess, integrity of the anime/manga intact, because you don't want weak characters being added to the game and then like they get, technically they're so weak that they should get stomped on by everyone, right? Like, but at the same time we have characters like Yamcha and Krillin who are in there making their just making their mark, you could say, in the battlefield there. So I guess, you know, the fact that they're there means that maybe we can have some other characters be added in. I think there's a lot of potential as well for more. Maybe we'll go into Dragon Ball Super characters as well. That would be fun too. Oh no, we kind of have already, but more would be fun. Lots of potential anyway for the Dragon Ball characters, especially if we're going into movie territory as well. Obviously Broly being one of them, and Bardock kind of also being one of them. So yeah, so that would be really cool to see. And speaking of Dragon Ball FighterZ, I almost got it. New patches coming out. It will be out on March 16th, which is a Friday this week. This is a big one, scheduled to roll out across the PS4, Xbox One, and PC versions of the game. It's mainly focused on making gameplay improvements, although it also introduces a couple of new features as well to keep things interesting. So the biggest thing, I think, which most people will care about, or especially the multiplayer scene would care about, is that this patch will allegedly greatly improve, air quotes, matchmaking and server stability for ring matches. So anything that improves matchmaking in a fighting game, to me, is good news. Good news. Because without matchmaking, a person playing alone at home will have a, I think like not terrible experience for fighting games, but like more limited experience for fighting games. So I think it's great that, you know, the devs are working really hard to address this issue, or issues that people are coming across in their matchmaking games, especially for Dragon Ball FighterZ, given that the game's player base has kind of decreased a lot recently. Hopefully this improvement to server stability and matchmaking will help bring the player base back up again, or encourage more players to come back into the game, or encourage new players to try out multiplayer, as well as the DLC stuff, keeping things fresh as well. Most importantly, Note as well that the update will delete your recorded data on the replay channel. So if you have replays that you want to save, you should back them up or record them onto like an external thing, whether it be Shadowplay on PC, or if you are on PS4, you can use PlayStation Share or hook it up to like a capture card and capture it through like OBS or Elgato, whatever it is that you choose to use. The patch also addresses a list of bugs that affect certain characters, so attacks comboing or being shown as a combo when they shouldn't, little things like that, little tweaks, just fixing general all-around like bug fixing and housekeeping. For the new content, the update adds a feature called Z Unions, which will function kind of like fan clubs, I guess you could say, for each character. I don't know, their words, not mine. So if you join a Z union, you will receive special rewards, and the longer you stay in a union, the better rewards you will get. So yeah, additionally, the update also gives players the ability to exit the game lobby using the stairs at the entrance. It's little things. And Bandai Namco also said that they were looking at adding a quick way to jump into the offline lobby from the game's title screen. So thank you to the devs who continue to patch and update this game. If you have any feedback for the show, or if you just want to let us know that you're listening and that you're enjoying the content, that'd be awesome. You can hit us up on Twitter with the hashtag #12punch. I know some of you have been using it recently, so that's been awesome to see. And I do read all the tweets, or you can also leave us a comment on the YouTube, because you know YouTube comments are always a really nice place. So thanks everyone for everyone who has left us a comment in the past as well. Really great to see. So on to the next bit of news before we left on our break. Bandai Namco has been keeping busy, it seems. They released a new trailer for the new character coming to Tekken 7. That is Final Fantasy 15 character Noctis Lucius Calum. And in addition to the character himself being introduced to Tekken 7, the stage Hammerhead gas station from Final Fantasy 15 is also coming to the game. So previously, when Noctis was first revealed, where did we see the reveal? I'm trying to remember now. I feel like it wasn't that long ago. Kind of like, what's the word I was looking for? Escapes my mind is the word I think I was looking for. Anyway, when he was first announced, the release window for the character was spring 2018, but now we have an actual date that's confirmed, which is great. March 20th. Mark that in your calendars. So March 20th, which I believe is a Thursday next week. Oh, no, wait. Tuesday next week is when the character and the stage will be available. So that's right, the Final Fantasy 15 Homeboy will be coming to the PS4, Xbox One, and PC versions of Tekken 7 on March 20th. In addition, the Hammerhead gas station from Final Fantasy 15 will also be part of the DLC, which is cool. You can even see the character Cindy from Final Fantasy 15 in the background. She's like there waving. She's in this new trailer that they released as well, which is a nice touch. Basically, the trailer showed more gameplay footage of Noctis fighting using his arsenal of weapons that he has. Looks like it's mainly made up of his royal arms from Final Fantasy 15. He also gets a whole bunch of unique costumes, which in my opinion is unfair because I want more costumes for the existing Tekken 7 characters. But then again, like, we have customizations, so I guess even so, I feel like the customs in Tekken 7 have not been as good as they have been in past games. Am I crazy? Somebody confirm that with me. If you think that the customization options available in Tekken 7 are not as good as they, you know, the ones that are available in Tekken 6 or Tekken 5, even Tag, like, let me know, because I feel like they really aren't. Maybe I'm just being like spoiled and picky now. Kind of like getting too used to all the cool things that we get offered, right? But anyway, Noctis also gets several unique costumes if you do decide to get the character. This includes a casual outfit, royal raiment outfit, a fighting king's raiment outfit, and the most, I guess, interesting looking of the bunch, you could say, the Choco Mog style. So I think it's like inspired by like the Chocobo pirates of the game. But even though the trailer showed some interaction with him and Lars, another character in Tekken 7, he won't have a story mode at all, according to the announcement. So no story mode, just can use him as a character for like your battles and multiplayer battles and such. You can buy him for $8, like Geese, if you want. No season pass is required, so if you didn't pick up a season pass, that's fine. You can get Noctis for $8 instead. Side note about that, actually. So, you know, DLC characters for Tekken 7 are a really interesting place because, unlike Street Fighter V, bless, Tekken 7 still has a really, really strong arcade scene, both in South Korea and Japan. And I might have mentioned this before when I was talking about EVO Japan. So a lot of the players still play in arcades there, right? And that's basically where the scene thrives, where people learn, where people grow, where people play. There's also the social aspect. You go to arcades, you meet people, you can talk to them about the game and ask for advice if you're new to it, which is nice. I remember like when I started out playing Tekken 7, that's how I learned the game. I went to arcades and talked to people about it and asked for advice and learned a lot of cool things. So it's interesting that with more and more DLC characters coming out, what will happen to the scene, because someone told me that at EVO Japan, a lot of the Tekken players there who were like Japanese or South Korean struggled to fight against the DLC characters because obviously DLC characters aren't available in arcades. So there was like any like Eliza or Geese players really, you know, had a chance to take advantage of that. And it's just interesting because, you know, he was telling me that it seemed like a lot of really skilled players were falling to Eliza shenanigans or Geese shenanigans when they shouldn't have because they were unfamiliar with the matchups and stuff. So I'm real curious to see what will happen if we get more and more DLC characters, obviously. I'm not saying that DLC is evil or anything. I think it's cool that we have the option to get a DLC and that developers do introduce new content to games to keep it fresh, keep it interesting. You know, it's not like these days you just buy a game and once you finished it, that's it forever, right? So it's cool that we have that option, and you know, the support granted from purchasing DLC and stuff goes back into more resources for the game to patch it and maintain servers and stuff like that. So I think, you know, all that stuff has to be considered as well. But it's just interesting also like to see the two scenes because, you know, like here in the West, you know, in North America, Europe and such, like the scenes are pretty much based around players who play on console. Like we don't have thriving arcade scenes, so it's almost like the complete opposite of what the scenes for Tekken 7 at least are in Asia. And that to me is especially highlighted when you have international events like EVO, where people travel to compete. EVO USA this year will be especially interesting when the event happens. You know, we've had all sorts of DLC come out for almost like all the fighting games, right? That are going to be at the main event at EVO. So that's just something that I think is worth keeping an eye on, or something worth, I guess, food for thought is what I'm trying to say. But yes, I digress. Anyway, on to more news, this time about SoulCalibur VI. Last time we talked about it, sorry, I mentioned that they had announced Ivy, of course, one of the poster characters for SoulCalibur VI being brought back into the game. Now, it seems like they've been trickling out a lot of like cool new character announcements and content for it, but we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. Well, apparently, there's been some sort of like, I guess, issues that have surfaced recently. So, you know, game development is never easy. I can't like speak on their behalf, but I feel like from the outside, it just seems like it is way harder than it looks, right? Making a game. Anyway, production producer on SoulCalibur VI, Michinori Ozawa, he made a few controversial tweets last week about the hell that the development team for the game is going through. In them, he revealed that the company was making him go to 5 a.m. meetings, that they were blaming everyone else for failures and shortcomings, and that morale there in general had fallen pretty low. He also made a comment about like he hasn't laughed or smiled at his workplace for 3 years. His tweets, and I don't know if this is indicative of whether or not he got into trouble for them. I feel like, if someone was posting that about their workplace for such a public, product in such a public position as well, there would surely be ramifications. But his tweets were later deleted. But not before the internet was able to screenshot them and translate them for everyone, right? And post about them. So things seem pretty dark. I know, like, there's a lot to be said about game development culture in general, and even more to be said about game development culture in Japan. From what I hear, it's just like you have to devote your life to the game. His tweets talked about like his wife being concerned as well, telling him or encouraging him to actually quit his job, which is crazy. Like Ozawa's been around Soul Calibur and like talked about it for so long, and it's just crazy that, all these things are happening. And I can't believe like no one's talking about his tweets either. Like after it happened, it kind of was like swept under the rug. I was surprised more gaming sites didn't really pick it up. I don't know. Maybe they were it was more like rumor mongering. I don't know. But whatever the case, I do think this issue needs to be spotlighted or at the very least addressed by Bandai Namco at some point. Otherwise, that kind of stuff reflects on the product. When you have a rushed development cycle, when it's crunch time, it will reflect in the release of Soul Calibur VI. So who knows? Hopefully the team at Bandai Namco are able to resolve the problems that they're facing. So, in additional news for Soul Calibur VI, a new crossover character was teased, and you are not going to believe who it is this time. I don't even mean to like clickbait that, but I was like seriously like, what, really? Like when I heard about this or when I saw it, I also could be wrong. This is just rumors so far. So Geralt from the CD Projekt Red's RPG The Witcher will possibly be making a crossover appearance in Soul Calibur 6. I say possibly because it was kind of teased. So the official Twitter account for The Witcher posted the following message. Kaer Morhen's old stones have witnessed many battles. Once more they'll feel the sting of sparks as blades collide. Check back tomorrow. Tomorrow, of course, being Thursday. So this was posted literally today, this morning. So I know it can be kind of vague, but I feel like also some people are saying that the language chosen was done very deliberately, and could very much be a Soul Calibur crossover. So for those looking forward to Soul Calibur 6 who may not be familiar with the Witcher franchise, I played The Witcher 3 for a bit. Excellent, excellent RPG, by the way. If you do see it on sale, highly recommend picking it up. It's like a fantasy RPG, but man, it is fantastic. You could sink like hundreds and hundreds of hours into that game. So in the game, Kaer Morhen is like this old keep where characters like Geralt, who is the guy you see on the cover, kind of like white hair, beard, kind of gruff looking. He's what they call in their universe a witcher, and witchers go to Kaer Morhen to train or be trained, and then kind of like sometimes also like evolve themselves. In a way, they kind of change their appearance. The place Kaer Morhen was both in the original Witcher and also appeared in The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which is CD Projekt Red's latest entry in the Witcher 3 series. It's also a critically acclaimed RPG and reviewed excellently on many, many websites. So yes, it would be, actually, I feel like if Geralt were to be added to the Soul Calibur 6 cast, it would actually be quite fitting. I mean, thinking about his abilities and his skills, they would fit quite well within the Soul Calibur 6 universe. Like, he wields like a big broadsword. He could use that to fight in Soul Calibur 6. Like, of course, he's a witcher, so he has like magic that he can use, set things on fire. And like his moveset or move list could be influenced by all those things as well, which would be really cool. You know, we saw Zasalamel before use his time-stopping magic in his moveset for Soul Calibur 6 in the previous trailer. So it's like, wouldn't be the first time we have someone with more unusual magic kind of oriented fantasy skills be added to the Soul Calibur 6 cast. Like, what is happening to this game, right? But at the same time, it's like, well, this would not be the first time that we've seen a somewhat random crossover come over to the Soul series. Does anyone remember Yoda in like the game? Yes, Yoda from Star Wars. He was also in like one of the Soul games. I forgot which one actually, but I just remember like seeing it and being like, what? Like, just like completely flabbergasted and lost for words. So yeah, I think Geralt would arguably fit more into Soul Calibur 6 than Yoda would, but that's just my opinion, right? So yeah, I mean, it's cool that they're experimenting and like we see more weird and random crossovers coming into Bandai Namco's games. But yeah, so we had like Noctis from Final Fantasy coming to Tekken, maybe Gerald coming to Soul Calibur 6, who knows? At the same time, though, can we bring back some more classic Tekken characters? Like, give me Julia, please. I would love to see her in Tekken 7 again. Or Tekken again, sorry. But also Tekken 7, please. Like, you're going to pick, like, Noctis over Julia? I know Noctis is, like, the homeboy of Final Fantasy 15, but come on. Anyway, moving on to the next bit of news. BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle is getting an open beta, but here's the twist. It's in Japan. We don't know if it's coming to the States yet. That's right. Arc System Works announced on the PlayStation blog that BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle will release in Japan at the end of May, but those who pre-order the digital version of the game will get to play sooner with a bonus early access for the open beta. So you can pre-order either the standard or deluxe editions via PSN, so it has to be Japanese PSN. If you have a Japanese PSN account, you can do this. I have one that I keep around for I guess like emergencies. I have a couple of games I purchased on there as well. You also get early access to the open beta test if you pre-order on PSN, which is taking place in mid-May. So digital copies only. You get the open beta. The open beta will last for 5 days, and 3 of those days will be exclusive to those who pre-order. So there you have it. BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle releases for PS4, Switch, PC via Steam in Japan and Asia on May 31st, North America on June 5th. Next bit of news, Daigo Umehara, the Beast himself, will be appearing on a documentary program on NHK called Professional Jobs Rule on March 19th episode, or like the episode that will broadcast on March 19th, broadcasting at 7:30 p.m. in the evening. He will be appearing alongside Hikakin, who is a very famous YouTuber in Japan. He has like 11 million subscribers or something. Like this guy's huge. I've seen some of his videos before, actually, just in passing. You know how like sometimes when you go down those YouTube holes and you end up in weird places? Yeah. I ended up at Hikakin at one point. But anyway, this is pretty cool. It's a big deal. I would say NHK is Japan's largest broadcasting station. It's kind of like a big television station over there. And it's not the first time that Daigo's appeared on a documentary at all, by any means. I know that we even did a documentary on him at Yahoo Esports. You know, Red Bull did a documentary on him. I think he was on like a Vice one as well. But it's cool that he is appearing on NHK alongside a YouTuber as well, because you know, I wonder if that's a signaling of the way Japan's not treatment, I guess, maybe like attitude or perception of pro gamers is slowly changing, or internet culture, because, you know, for the most part, it's sort of something that's frowned upon, pro gaming or the pro gaming scene. You know, otaku culture in general is frowned upon because it's like, supposedly the reasoning behind that is, you know, if you're a gamer, you're not really, and you play games all day, you're not really contributing to society. And that's why pro gaming is not as big, I feel like not as big as it could be in Japan, but it's like the opposite in South Korea. Like, their programmers there are like stars and celebrities. It's crazy. They have big organizations, you know, big esports teams who sign players and treat them like superstars. Whereas in Japan, I feel like it might slowly be changing though. Plus, we've got some new blood who are coming into the scene, so that's always a good thing as well. But yeah, so if you're in Japan, you can catch that on NHK on March 19th at 7:30. Featuring Daigo Umehara, the beast himself. Speaking of Daigo Umehara, we need to talk about Kemonomichi 2 results. Kemonomichi, of course, being the exhibition tournament that is hosted by Daigo, I guess you could say, and his team. Kimonomichi translates to Path of the Beast or Way of the Beast. It features like a bunch of sets, it has in the past anyway, like 1st to 10. So players play a 1st to 10 set. First player to win 10 matches or hit 10 matches wins. Now, 1st to 10s are kind of traditionally viewed as the, I guess like, the real deal in fighting games, right? Because when you play in a tournament, it can be kind of random how you do in the brackets and stuff, because you play a best of 3 during tournaments. So the argument to be made for 1st to 10s is that you have more time to get to know your opponent, and because both you and your opponent are studying each other and playing each other for such an extended period of time, the more skilled player will come out on top, because it tests, you know, a player who is able to adapt better and read their opponent better, which is why 1st to 10s tend to be used for like exhibition matches, or when players challenge each other and throw down for money matches, it's like 1st to 10. Sometimes 1st to 5 as well, if you don't want to spend that much time playing each other, but 1st to 10 traditionally has been it. And the argument, or I guess the point of this, the big deal, sorry, about this was Daigo Umehara very, very rarely loses his 1st to 10s. You know, this guy is like the mainstay, like the beast of Street Fighter. I mean, he's the iconic guy who was around for that Evo moment where he parried every single Chun-Li, like kicking that super from Justin Wong. So it was highly anticipated. Daigo Umehara went up against Tokido, of course, the winner of Evo 2017 last year, winner of a whole bunch of tournaments after that as well. Like, Tokido was on a rampage. Like, he had a really great 2017. And the lead up to this exhibition was like so hype. It was crazy. Both players did like interviews on camera, and it was just real interesting to see, right? So Tokido talked about how like he's always seen Daigo as a rival, but also like I feel like the tone was like mixture of rival and role model. Like he specifically said that he feels like the gap between them is so great. Like he doesn't even see his back, you know, like he's like a speck in the distance in the horizon. He can't even see him, but he wants to close that gap, and he wanted to test himself to see if he could beat Daigo in a 1st to 10. And then Daigo's interview was just like the total opposite almost. He was like, yeah, I think I could win this. I mean, there's no way I can lose, right? It's a 1st to 10, blah, blah, blah. Like, he was just like so chill and relaxed about it. And he was just kind of like nonchalantly just kind of saying like, yeah, I'm going to win this. No problemo. I have to win this. Like, it's just like, what to say? What do you say against that, right? So, bit of history. Daigo, of course, in 2012, did a 1st to 10 against the winner of Evo that year, who was Infiltration, South Korean player, who stomped all over everyone at Evo that year and was just like walked away looking like he was pretty much was the best Street Fighter player in the world, right? And then Daigo's like, you want a 1st to 10? Let's do it. And then he 10-2s him. Like, the score was 10-2. Daigo versus Infiltration. That was just crazy. Then the next year, 2013, he did it again. So that year, Singapore Xian won Evo. And then Daigo was like, hey, you want a 1st to 10? Guess what? The score was 10-0. He just completely wiped the floor with Xian. It was crazy. This year, he goes up against Tokido, Evo champion from 2017. And he picked Guile, Tokido, of course, using Akuma. And they went, Daigo won, 10-5. Now, these matches were incredible. Sejam put up some really good match analysis on YouTube. Check them out if you want some really good insights to them. But Daigo was just like so strong throughout the, especially like towards the end of it, right? Like he was using Guile, and he also gave some really interesting insights about his usage of Guile in a translated interview that's up on Shoryuken if you want to check it out. But yeah, Tokido was like so upset, and everyone was kind of talking about it afterwards, right? Like in the post-game interviews, like Tokido, you know, got a bit teary and emotional, and he started crying. And I think a lot of people, like haters especially, were like bagging him out for that. But I just gotta say, like, if you were ragging on him like for that, you don't understand what it means to be like a true competitor. Because competing at, especially like on that level, you know, to really, really want to beat something, like, the context of this is important to remember as well. Like, Tokido wanted to be able to finally prove himself against Daigo, like Daigo Umehara, the beast, the legend of Street Fighter, to say like, yeah, like I deserve all those big wins that I had last year and I could beat Daigo now. But he wasn't able to do it. And from what I heard, he apparently had put in a lot of preparation into the match as well, and trained like a lot for it. But in the end was just like not able to clinch the win. So very sad to see. But, you know, like Tokido, still an amazing player. And I hope this inspires him to keep on fighting on and keep on improving, because, you know, I know Tokido's inspired a lot of players from around the world. It's not easy to lose, but you're losing against Daigo. Like, he is the beast for a reason, you know. And just seeing all the emotion that came on after the match as well was just like so inspirational. It was amazing to see. But yeah, like if you were hating on Tokido for like shedding a tear or two during that post-game interview, like, you don't understand what it means to play a competitive fighting game. So that's just what I want to say about that. Of course, there were other games that were at Kemonomichi. Tekken 7 also had a exhibition match, or first to 10 set. It was between Tanukana and Yu, both competitive Tekken players. So Tanukana, of course, needs no introduction. She has performed amazingly at various Tekken 7 tournaments throughout last year. You know, one of the biggest Tekken players who is making a splash on the scene right now. And I think it's really great to see her partake in events like this, and really just really cool in general to see a match like this take place. So that's Tanukana. Yu, I think she might be a little less known to some people. She's actually been playing Tekken at a competitive level for a while. She's not a newcomer to the scene by any means. I mean, she fought against Ni in the King of Iron Fist tournament 2015, actually took a game against him, but in the end, Ni was able to best her. She wanted to get her revenge on Ni in King of Iron Fist tournament 2016, but got blocked by Rush Cash from South Korea and Tsubumi from Osaka, Japan. So she also gave some great pre-match hype, I guess, quotes / interviews in the lead up to this. You know, she was saying how she's never lost to Tanukana before. When they've met each other in tournaments, she's always beat her. So she was confident going into this exhibition. And, you know, I guess she was true to her words, but it was very close. The end score was 10-9. Yu won. Tanukana was just only missing out by the one there. But I haven't watched all the matches yet, but I heard the final round was just incredible. And it was a Ling Xiaoyu mirror match as well, which is always fun to watch, in my opinion. Better than like a Paul mirror match, right? So yeah, some great Tekken 7 matches, and really cool to see this exhibition happening as well. The other tournament that was, not tournament, I guess, but exhibition match that took place at Kemonomichi 2 was Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. That's right, the old school game. And Kotaka Shoten versus Ito. Kotaka won 10-6. Not much to say about that. I guess you could say it's cool to see that people are still playing Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. That game's legit hard. I remember when I went on a cross counter and was playing it with like Gutex and K-Brad, and it was really fun, but also like a lot harder than you think it would be for such an old school game, but really cool to see that people are still actively playing it, and even on a competitive level as well. So that's really cool. So that's it for Kemonomichi 2. All the matches are up on YouTube. I think it's also on Beast TV on the Twitch archive if you missed the live stream. It happened over the weekend. Some really cool fighting game action, so you can check it out there if you were not able to watch it live. Or just look up Tokido versus Daigo first to 10, FT10 on YouTube, and you can watch the matches there. But basically, it was just some really, really high-level Street Fighter V action. Definitely recommend watching it if you did not catch it live. Speaking of Street Fighter V, Capcom has announced new broadcast partners for CPT 2018. I'm going to explain why I think this is sort of a big deal in a second, or more important than people realize. They are returning to Twitch to broadcast CPT 2018 or Capcom Pro Tour 2018. As expected, you can't have an esports event without Twitch nowadays. I think that's like almost suicide. It's either that or YouTube gaming, right? You need to have some sort of live stream broadcast for people on their computers or phones to be able to watch. But yes, they're returning to Twitch as expected. But this time around, they will also be broadcasting on YouTube, Facebook, and the official Capcom Pro Tour website. Now, I don't know what that last one means, if they have their own proprietary live stream player on their website, or if they're going to be like embedding the Twitch or YouTube stream on their website. But all of that will be, all those platforms will be live streaming the CPT 2018, starting with the first premiere event, which is Final Round 2018 this weekend, March 16th to March 18th. I do wonder if this means all events going forward are going to be broadcast on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and the official Capcom Pro Tour website. I don't know. In addition to that, they've also upgraded their official CPT website. As part of those upgrades, you can now watch every single Capcom Pro Tour premiere event broadcast, as well as the rebroadcast directly on the site. So if you missed out, you can just go to the Capcom Pro Tour website and watch the past events/tournaments there. So that's pretty cool. It's interesting to me that Capcom is broadening their list of broadcast partners, because I think as esports grows, and I know a lot of people hate that word, but as esports grows and fighting games, especially in the fighting game scene, continues to grow into this like big scene, broadcast rights, like for viewers, like it's going to be a big deal, monetization and like how businesses tackle all this stuff. So I think that's something that needs to be talked about or considered at some point. You know, MLB, of course, inked a huge deal with Riot Games for their League of Legends broadcast. And it's going to be interesting to see if fighting games will also follow in a similar pathway. But I digress. That was so much news for today. You are listening to 1-2 Punch episode 10. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Don't forget to leave us some feedback if you want. YouTube, subscribe to us there as well. You can also subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, all the not Google podcasting things. I'm Zoreen T. Hopefully we'll see you all, or you'll hear me next week. Bye, everyone. Thank you.